So Constantinople had been considered the second Rome, or the new Rome. So there was the original Rome, and then it was a second Rome. So he'd moved the capital to Constantinople, Constantine had, but when Rome fell, there would be a third Rome, and you can see it in that little, this is a National Geographic poster, and up at the top there, the third Rome, as you can see, is up in Moscow. So after Constantine falls, the last of the family, Paleologus was their family name. Manuel had a son, John, and he died, and then there was Constantine, who was the emperor, and then it was his younger brother, Thomas. Well, Thomas is like Harry in the royal family, the spare heir. So he ruled over an area called Moldova, or Maria, I think it was, and he had a daughter named Zoe. Now, Zoe, when everything went badly for Constantine and he was killed, Thomas and Zoe fled. They took with them the regalia of the Byzantine Empire, the throne and the crown, and they took off to Italy, and they lived under the protection of the Pope for a period of time. But Pope Paul II decided that it would be a good idea to marry off Zoe to Ivan III of Russia, kind of create a little inroad with the Russians. So her name was Russianized, and they called her Sophia instead. So she would become Sophia of Russia, marrying Ivan III. They would have a son called Vasily III, and Vasily died when his son was quite young, and his son's name was Ivan IV. We know him as Ivan the Terrible. Now, Ivan IV had a problem. Russia was kind of like not like your most dynastic dynasties where the king's son was automatically the heir. It was a family thing. And so what happened was that Ivan was put under these boyars, like the current, what would they call them today, oligarchs, who kind of raised him and more or less kept him prisoner in the castle until he was of age. But it could have gone, the throne could have gone to any of his cousins. They had as much right to it as he did. So he needed a way to kind of secure himself. So what he did was he took upon him the title of Tsar, Caesar, the successor to the Byzantine Empire, took the Russian, or the white throne of the Byzantines, which is now in St. Petersburg in Russia, and kind of trumped everybody else and said, hey, I am the descendant of the Tsars. I will be, or of the Caesars, I will be Caesar from here on in. And he became an autocrat of Russia and got rid of all his cousins and anybody that was going to contest his seat on the throne. So Russia in the north, so we're going to see how this relates to Turkey in a moment, but it would grow when it started with Ivan. There wasn't a whole lot to it. It was a landlocked area, but it would grow under him and his successors. You would have basically Vasily III, who would come along, and he would then conquer more territory again. Then you had Ivan the Terrible, who would go right the way north and south down to the Caspian Sea. And then again, they would push further on. Peter the Great would come along years later, and he'd go all the way out to the Bering Sea and take that huge swath of land.